grub is downright gruesome, but your appetite's obey. 'Cause food's a little funny, food's a little funny, food's a little funny at the Clown Cafe. Drop on by the Clown Cafe, your favorite meals on wheels. The menu is disgusting and it's full of special deals. Nothing here is good for you, so grab yourself a tray. 'Cause food's a little funny at the Clown Cafe. Drop on by the Clown Cafe. Drop on by the Clown Cafe. Gobble up your order quick before it runs away. 'Cause food's a little funny at the Clown Cafe. Why not visit after school and have yourselves a bite? An appetizing appetizer certain to delight. We haven't done it right unless it makes your teeth decay. 'Cause food's a little funny at the Clown Cafe. Drop on by the Clown Cafe. Drop on by the Clown Cafe. The grub is downright gruesome, but your appetites obey. 'Cause food's a little funny, food's a little funny, food's a little funny at the Clown Cafe.
Fuck! Bullshit! Hey everyone, it's Don G. Corleone here, and I'm here with a brand new, somewhat epic movie rant for episode 5 of Halloween Horror Movies 4. And this rant is gonna be for a found footage film from the 2000s. A really overrated one that kind of sparked a bad trend for the horror genre. Kind of helped starting the death of the horror genre. But got success anyway. And this was requested by DJ Disney for this one. So, nothing personal against him. I'm happy to have a request for this season. So this was requested by DJ Disney. And this request, an episode is going to be for 2009's. It's supposed to be 2009, but somehow they think it came out in 2007 all because of some festivals. That film is going to be Paranormal Activity. And it's directed by Oren Peli and produced by the hack himself, Jason Bum. That's the plot. Well, pretty much a young, mindless middle-class couple moves into a suburban starter tract house, and they become increasingly disturbed by a presence that may or may not be somehow demonic, but certainly most active in the middle of the night, especially when they sleep or even try to. Yeah. As a plot. Well, how was this made? Well, attempting to focus on believability rather than action and gore, Peli chose to shoot the picture with a home video camera, and then deciding on a more raw and stationary format. The camera is literally sitting on a tripod or something else, and eliminating the need for a camera crew. A higher degree of plausibility was created for the audience as they were more invested in the story and the characters. And Peli said the dialogue was natural because there was no script. The actors were just instead given outlines of the stories and situations to improvise, a technique known as retroscripting, also used for the Blair Witch Project, which came out 10 years before this. In casting the movie, Peli auditioned a few hundred people before finally meeting Kitty Featherston and Mika Sloat. And he originally auditioned them individually and later called them back to audition together, and Peli was impressed with the chemistry between the actors, stating that if they had saw the audition footage, they would have thought they had known each other for years. And during a guest appearance on the Jay Leno Show on November 3rd, 2009, Sloat and Featherston explained that they each saw the casting call in LA Casting, and Featherston noted they originally were paid $500 for their work. And the film was shot out of sequence due to Peli's self-imposed 7-day shooting schedule. And though he would have preferred the story to have unfolded for the actors he had envisioned it, Sloat, who had controlled the camera for a good deal of the film, was a former cameraman at his university's TV station. It was a very intense week, according to Oren Peli, because he stated the film would be shot day and night, edited at the same time and would have used the visual effects applied to as the acting footage was being finalized, and multiple endings were conceived, but not all of them were shot. And apparently it's considered a 2007 film because it was apparently screened at 2007 Screen Festival and Film Festival, where an impressive assistant at the Creative Artists Agency, Curry Baru, so much that the CAA signed on to represent Peli, attempting to find a distributor for the film or directing work for Peli. The agency sent out DVDs of the movie as many people in the industry as they could, and it would be eventually seen by Miramax Film senior executive at the time, Jason Bum, who thought it had potential. Then he worked with Peli to re-edit the film and submit it to the Sundance Film Festival, but it got rejected. Good. It should have been rejected by the world. And DVD impressed DreamWorks executives Anna Goodman and Stacy Snyder, and finally Steven Spielberg, of all people, who cut a deal with Jason Bum and Peli. And DreamWorks was planning to remake the film with a bigger budget, with Peli directing, and only to include the original version as an extra when the DVD was eventually released, but they didn't know what to do with the original, said Blum. They just wanted to be in business with Peli. And Blum and Peli agreed, but stipulated a test screening of the original film before going ahead with the remake, believing it would be well received by a theatrical audience. But they didn't end up doing that, and of course it got its actual release. And after the film was shot and marketed, Paranormal Activity would be given a limited US release on September 25th, 2009, and it should be a 2009 film because it didn't release till 2009. I don't care if it was screened at a 2007 festival, it's a 2009 film, and it's going to stay that way. And then a nationwide release on October 16, 2009, a week before Saw 6, and it stomped on Saw 6's ass at the box office. Because the film earned nearly $108 million worldwide at the US box office, and a further $85 million internationally, and earned a worldwide total of $194 million worldwide. And Paramount and DreamWorks acquired US rights for $350,000, and was often cited as the most profitable film ever made. And it's the first, and of course, it got critical acclaim for some weird reason. You'll find out why I don't think it should have had critical acclaim in a bit, but it ended up, of course, spawning like a whole entire franchise with a parallel sequel, a prequel film, an actual sequel film to the first two movies, a fifth installment, which was a spin-off, and a sixth installment. Then a video game, and then a seventh film released in 2021 on Paramount Plus. As for my reaction, okay, I'll admit, I did used to find this movie fine when I first saw it, but now that I'm older, I just think this movie's just so dumb and overhyped. It's around 86 minutes long, but it feels like it's 2 hours fucking long for that time. It's not scary. Like, name one thing in the comments that was even scary about this. None of the characters are even interesting, or they're just stupid as fuck or annoying. Like, rather than try to deal with the threat properly, the husband of all characters is too busy dealing with a stupid fucking camera, thinking that it will scare off the demon, when it's clearly just making it more stronger and more pissed. And it has no clear plot whatsoever. It's just a couple going to bed and not being able to sleep for a whole 86 minutes. And somehow this made over $193 million worldwide, got 83% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is a stupid fucking site now, a 68 on Metacritic, and a 6.3 out of 10 on IMDb. I don't fucking get it. And guys, you're probably all just thinking, you just hate found footage horror movies. No, I don't. There's been found footage movies I liked. Quite a few. I liked the Record films. No. I liked Record 2, or Wreck and Wreck 2, VHS 2 and VHS 94, Chronicle, Cloverfield. Those are all better fucking found footage films than this. That actually deserve the praise they get, more than Paranormal Activity did. And this even got like 6 sequels. And I don't know why. Like, Cloverfield should have made Paranormal Activity's money. I would have rather Cloverfield been a new Halloween box office king, not this. Like, only gets like 2 related films that aren't even actual follow-ups. Like, I don't know why Cloverfield could have actually been the new Halloween box office franchise. I would have rather that happened. That would have been better. No. gotta go to this garbage. Just the lack of common sense of the characters in this movie is all over. If a demon just grabs my leg and drags me through the hallway of my house, I can guarantee you I'll be running away from the house at light fucking speed, not returning to my bedroom to cry on the damn floor. It's ridiculous. Like, there's been other films that, with handheld cameras, that's done more effectively. Wreck, of course. Hell, Blair Witch Project may not have been a fan of Blair Witch Project, but even it did the shaky cam thing better. Because Blair Witch Project was literally film students. The characters in that movie were film students learning camera work. So of course it was going to be shaky. Wreck was only shaky when it needed to be. The Descent was only shaky when it needed to be. And that uses a handheld camera in some scenes. And the camera was only shaky when it was... The Descent, camera work in The Descent was more effective. There are a lot more effective creating horror and spooky moments in those movies. Those did it all better, and those were actually scary. Actually scary films that try to be scary right. And while maybe it is original and somewhat and stands up for that, there's no reason to give it high points just for being original. Apart from the fact, like, nothing much happens in this movie, which I guess would be fine if you didn't know much, but if you combine it with idiot characters, bad actors, and a dangerously unhealthy mix that also fails to be gripping most of the times at all. And for starters, it had to feel this overproduced amateur effort made by a film school student. And secondly, even though they used their names and just fictional versions of themselves, Katie Featherston and Mika Sloat are terrible actors. They were unable to convey any sense of empathy with their characters, and I wouldn't be surprised if they were clearly reading their lines from the underside of cups, in a subtle effort to hide the fact that they probably couldn't even remember them. In a way which, and since this is a film which only features two people, it's a real problem. There's no hiding for her, and thirdly, they obviously shot too high, and plain old-fashioned haunting was called for, and all this demon stuff is pointless and tacky, and fourthly, dealing with a film about bumps in the night subtly is called for. It's about the imagination doing the work. The crescendo, though, the film... And fifthly, was the ending supposed to be scary? At all? Was really much scary. Some bits of the ending did get me, but Mika just going downstairs in the pitch black and does away with him without a fight, and apparently it's according to them she's still missing, but it's revealed in the sequels what happened to them. And then the screen tells us it's all fictitious anyway. It's tacky, cliched, and boring. So obviously, we know she obviously killed him, it's obvious. It didn't really rip off his face with her teeth, or pull his heart of his chest with her hand, but blah blah, but all things that would have been even worse. And while I think about it, what the hell was that all about the powder, and what looked to me like at least to be hoof marks, as if the demon's just invisible, but had a physical presence. It's the kind of story a child would come up with. But it would be, because seeing situations that could happen in your home, or maybe have ever happened in similar fashion, might make you feel weird and uncomfortable. Having said that, it would have been great to have stronger performances and characters, especially because the male lead, Mika, he's not only just so fucking annoying, but he's just stupid. He's probably one of the stupidest people I have ever seen in a horror movie in my life. Yeah, it's common. People in horror movies behave strange, do stupid things, and do things they shouldn't do, but this guy just beats all those cliches in just one movie. There's doing something stupid, and then there's doing something suicidal, and this guy's definitely suicidal. Just think this, first off, when there's a demon threat, does he think to just maybe get the fuck out of the house and just go to the hotel straight away after the first or third nights? No. Or think to just let the exorcist guy come in to take care of it quickly, and then it'll be all over, and then it's done like that? No. They tried getting a psychic to come in, and Mika's rude to him, ignores all of his advice, to not play mind games with it. Of course Mika does that because he's a fucking idiot. Hey, I got this great big ass camera and I'm gonna keep acting gangster with the demon. What are you doing in my house? Get out. And and I'm gonna put this powder on the floor, and that's gonna totally work. Or I'm gonna go against my wife's orders, and I'm gonna buy a Ouija board to make her mad. Yeah, he buys a fucking Ouija board. Katie even tells him not to buy one, but he buys one against her buying her back anyway. And it leads to a pretty funny scene, though. We'll get to that part later. But not only those stupid things he does, he acts strong like one scene, then he just breaks down in another. There's no consistency at all. There's no actual sense of fear because I could care less. And the only time that movie tries to be scary is nearly the end of the film. Literally the end of the film. And then, by the time it does start to get scary, it's over. Look, I don't care if people get mad at me for bashing this movie, but I don't care, guys. There's nothing scary about this film. And it was the first film to be done by Oren Peli. And it's apparently based off the experience of having his own home haunted. And it was made on a minuscule budget of just $15,000 and heavily promoted on social networking groups, and then distributed by Paramount Pictures. And then got labeled as one of the scariest films of all time. And the trailer even tries to force that by literally showing audience fearful reactions in the US. Despite these endorsements, Peli's film should be more aptly called one of the most overblown, boring films of 2009 and one of the dullest horror films of all time. Like, I'm surprised these US audience members were even scared by this. Like, what fucking movie did the people in trailers watch? They clearly watched something different, because this is clearly not the movie we got. Well, it's less nauseating compared to other found footage films that are much more nauseating. Resistance to shoot the film on handheld camera is literally contrived. Like, Mika just insists on filming even the broad daylight of the morning, just in nearly every single day of his life, and Katie herself just sometimes takes over as Mika's just looking at research on his computer, like a sound wave he recorded, and to force the camera to each scene consistently, it weakens the immersive qualities of what is already a flawed subgenre. It's beyond difficult for a film to immerse its audience so strongly into the belief that they're watching a series of whole movies, and they make them forget they're supposed to be watching a horror film in a cinema. And that all aside, though, the film is also marred by the same flaws of so many horror films, most notably its lack of attention to the depth of characterization and of any character development. Like Mika and Katie, they're two couple throughout the movie. This movie's about them. They just get increasingly stupider and more unlikable throughout the film, especially Mika the most, because he's this immature brute who's rude to a psychic, is rude to his wife, and disrespectful to her and her friend whenever... Because Katie does have this friend that appears in like 2 scenes, and he's annoying as hell to both of them, constantly bothering their downtime, and constantly disobeys his wife's orders. Like, don't buy a Ouija board. Okay, I won't buy a Ouija board. Guess what? Buys one fucking anyway. Like, there's nothing interesting. And he films his girlfriend asking for a striptease, and he even flips off his middle fingers to the camera when swimming in a pool and showing his bare chest to everybody who doesn't want to see it in the swimming pool. Or sometimes when he's sleeping, we even briefly see his underwear, who people also don't want to see. Like, I really don't need to see any of those, okay? My God. There's nothing interesting about any of these two boneheads, because they're devoid of any backstory. And just, right off the bat, I want this Mika guy to already die in a fucking car accident or be killed by the demon straight away. Right from the moment the film starts. That's not a good thing. As soon as this film starts, I want both these characters to just fucking die. They're not aided by a script where the dialogue extends a little beyond the "oh my god" or "what was that" variant. It's like these two... They're just constant whining, sniveling, and it just grows so tiresome after a while. It's hard to care about what happens to any of them, and the only character developments can be derived from Katie as she grows tired of the camera in her face, and she starts to decline as she's taken over by this force. And it can hardly be called a deaf or original, and still fails to initiate our sympathy for her or her idiot of a husband. And what easily would disappoint many pure horror fans is how derivative a lot of the film is. Not only is the film visually dull because of the limited lighting, but the nature of the story, and being contained to just a few levels of the house, limits the numbers of ways that the narrative can really develop, and director Oren Pali, who also wrote the screenplay, relies on just nothing but cliches and no originality. With creaking doors closing by themselves, chandeliers shaking, and unseen footsteps tapping on the floorboards, the subtlety of this, and the fact we see it so many times before, makes these moments so ineffective. Audiences are literally more likely to derive more fearsome sounds from the fall of armrests in a cinema, or when this would probably be screened at a cinema of people today, or more people just walking out bored probably. If this movie were made today, apparently when this came out, people were so scared of it, so I don't think that even happened. I didn't know. I didn't see it in theaters. I was too young to see this movie when it came out, but apparently people were so scared of this when it hit theaters. If this were released today, I don't think they'd give a shit. And the repetition of filming Mika's bedroom at night with the camera set up by itself on a tripod is also annoying. It's apart from admittedly brief jolt at the end of the film, barely anything eventuates. A noise is heard, and then a character wakes up to ask, "What was that?" It's difficult to take many of the film's supposedly dramatic moments seriously, like the footprints appearing, or a Ouija board just setting itself on fire for no explained reason, because of their sheer ludicrousness. Anyone seeing a doctor is even invited to investigate the house, walks in, and Amy was like, I can't be here. It's getting stronger. I gotta get the fuck out of here. Because it was too strong. Or, unless he probably just felt the great danger of being in this movie and got out while he could because he probably didn't want to be in this shit. It's just the lack of drama, the climaxes of scares in so many of the film scenes that would just baffle some and just frustrate others. Yeah, I've already mentioned Mika. He's just a smug idiot. Literally, all we see him doing is just strumming a guitar, filming himself doing that. It seems intent on irritating whatever it is that his girlfriend is brought into the house at every opportunity. It's like, what are you fucking doing here? What are you doing in my house? Get out of my house. Literally lots of scenes where he keeps doing that to the demon. He acts like he's so tough, but it probably just makes him more mad. Just films everything. He constantly ignores and disrespects his wife repeatedly, increasingly short-tempered police to switch the stupid camera off and stop playing with this stupid camera for 1 minute. And he prolongs arguing by refusing to answer questions with answers. And they're just the kind of couple you might enjoy seeing once or twice a year, but anymore you'd really start looking for ways to just avoid them, regardless of whether the demon was in tow, and they refuse to take the obvious steps any normal person would take. And you end up being too irritated with them to care what fate awaits. I know if the demonologist the ghost guy recommended couldn't make it, the first thing to do is rustle up this, just go get the hell out of a house, find a new house to live in or move, or get a small army of psychologists, and then call in the basic principle, that'd be their safety in numbers. Just phone the TV stations and the papers. But no, these two bozos are dumb as a brick. They seem to be too cocooned in a world of their own with their damn camera. They choose to simply tough it out alone when the demon guy is out of town for a couple days. And then by the time they decide to finally try to call the demon guy, he quickly bails on them because the demon's too strong. And that's just it. So there's no fucking hope for them. Just piss poor acting, an absent storyline with nothing going on, and a Ouija board spells this the scene of the Ouija board, when it catches fire, spells some girl's name on its own, right before being lit on fire. They're like, awesome, let's stay another night. And rather than see the burned Ouija board and I'd probably pack my things and I'd get the fuck out. There's many times when they could just get the fuck out of the house, but they don't, because they don't want to, because they're too busy thinking they could beat it themselves. And they even abandoned the Ouija board subplot 5 minutes later. They never bring it up ever again. This movie could have ended great. Have the couple leave the house, shut their damn door, never go back to the house. And yet we're supposed to be under some vague impression that leaving won't help. And if leaving doesn't help, call a fucking psychic. A different psychic that isn't the same guy you tried to call. Go to a church. Or something. Or temple. Or an exorcist. Do something that isn't stay in the house like a fucking idiot. And an hour into the movie, all we get are first scares are just door slams. Which is in like every horror movie today. Wow, that's really scary. And at this point till the end, the couple's still sleeping with the door open. How about just, if you don't want the door cracking all the time, close the fucking door. Because that leads to Kitty getting literally dragged down to the bed by fucking air in one scene. And then getting a bite mark on her back. And a movie. Like, oh my, just close the fucking door. End the movie. Oh my god, if you're so scared of this demon, just fucking move! Just move the fuck out of the house, bitch! They don't do that. They keep staying in the fucking house, they do nothing at all, and that's it the whole movie. Just being dumb fucks and letting a demon possess their house, and when they finally try to stop it, try to actually get a psychic involved, it's too fucking late. And Paranormal Activity, or Paranormal CRAPTIVITY as it should be called, it should be a 2009 film. Not a 2007 film. And it's a tedious experience. The thing is, you have a nice concept here. But it gets ruined by shit filmmakers and shit actors. If this were done by the right people, it could have had something decent. Because I like the concept of this. The idea of something happening in your sleep is a nice concept. But it's sadly done by horrible people. And bad characters. I just want to videotape their life because of activity going on. And apparently we learned that Mika is this Celeste investment banker, and Katie's a clingy girlfriend. And literally, there's no scenes at all where Mika's at work. We don't even see Mika go to work at all. If he's a banker, wouldn't he supposed to be at work like 24/7? Not taking every single day off to film his damn house? Perhaps what seems to make the synopsis frightening on paper are two things. The couple seems like they're real, so it would look like watching people on a home video. There's no music soundtrack, so they have to endure long periods of silence while they're sleeping. And I'm wondering what will happen next, so those seem like scary ideas. But when it actually happens, it's lazily done. And there's even stupid parts of the movie where he goes around looking in the house after hearing scary stuff. Why not just turn on the lights? He's looking for something. Does he have to only rely on the camera light in a dark house? It's stupid. The psychic plot I've mentioned millions of times in this review is just too funny. Because the psychic's just ready to run out of the house. But instead, the psychic is more of a dumb idiot because he tells him to stay. And there's apparently one demonologist in the world that can help them. And he's gone for a week. Why the fuck should they stay in a house? It's gonna follow them home, so what? But they could just go to a different town and find a demonologist that can help them. Not his lazy ass. And then comes the Ouija board scene that I mentioned is stupidly acted and hilariously acted. How does it go? Well, I should mention how the Ouija board scene goes. Mika is told not to buy a Ouija board, but I mentioned he does it anyway, so he buys a Ouija board, and his wife sees it. Then his wife sees it, and they start arguing and bitching like 3-year-old siblings. It's like, you promised me you weren't gonna buy a Ouija board, and you lied to me about that. No, I didn't buy a Ouija board. I borrowed a Ouija board. I promised you I was gonna buy one. But I told you not to mess with that stuff, because it's scary, and what do? You go out, and you go buy the best fucking Ouija board I've ever seen and put it in the middle of our living room. Explain that to me. And it just blah, 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 just boring conversation. It goes on forever and fucking ever. And the two just leave. I don't know where the fuck they're going. They never explain why they're leaving. And the board apparently somehow catches fire for no reason. And then they get home. More stupid arguing happens. And we get this dragged out oath of the idiot boyfriend Mika going, I promised by my wife I'm gonna never buy a Ouija board ever again. And repeats it for like 2 fucking minutes. Look, I don't get how this is considered scary. The reputation the film has is one of the scariest films of all time. I can't buy into that. It spends a lot of time with not much happening. It's not uncommon for horror films, but I prefer films in a genre that actually spend time building up suspense or you actually feel a bit of dread, especially with found footage films like Cloverfield, Wreck 2, VHS 2. They get to the fucking point. Cloverfield even did a better job building up all this scary stuff. Cloverfield actually gets to the fucking point in like 2 or 3 minutes. And actually, they better introduced the characters. In Cloverfield, you could actually understand the characters did some stupid things in Cloverfield, but you could literally understand why they did some stupid things, and you could understand their fears and frustrations in that movie. You could better understand their decisions in that film and why they would do some stupid stuff, but the characters are more likable in Cloverfield than this. The premise just feels like something you see every day on cable TV shows. 2 people move in a house, have some strange occurrences, but they just record it rather than try to do shit. And the ending of the movie, the trailers reveal it for all the movies. I don't really watch any of these ghost hunter TV shows, but I could care less. Oh my god. Sorry, but this film is just giving me a migraine already. The creators of this film even clearly just seem to have this obsession with the Amityville horror movies, because the horror takes place around the same time every night, sometimes even 3 a.m. in the morning. We don't have a ghost going bump in the night, we have a demon, obsessed with Katie, and after filming begins, we get the usual haunted house trappings that aren't even original. Things go bump in the night, and towards the end of the film, obviously the film has to lead somewhere, so we get more intense happenings in the footprints left in powder on the floor, Katie gets straight from her bed, and then there's a finale, or rather, there's apparently 3 endings they shot. One you see in the trailer, and the other is an even more unbelievable bit of tripe. The main problem I have with this plot is that the haunting itself is not believable, nor is the reaction of the participants. First, when does Katie go to school? I thought she was a student. We see her study, and towards the end of the film, and if Mika's a banker, why is he never at work? He's just screwing around with that dumb camera or his dumb computer. And no one stays with them to verify the story. It happens to them when the psychic visits, gets these weird vibes, but he doesn't even see anything good. And if the demon is so troublesome, have other people stay in the house and get some night jobs. Seriously, everything seems scarier at night. Work at night and sleep during the damn day. I should have mentioned those earlier. You could have got a night job and you could have just slept during the fucking day if you're so scared to sleep at night. Or the same thing I've already mentioned again and again and again, just get the fuck out of the house. The one scene, Katie goes outside I'm not going to bed again, I'm too scared, I want to watch a movie downstairs. Or just fucking leave. I tell you many times to fucking leave the house. But no, you guys are so stupid as balls, you'd rather wait till the demon is ready to kill you guys and it's too late for both of you. And how does this boring ass movie end? Simple. Since there's still a bunch of idiots that can't even leave their house, they stay for another fucking night. And before that, Katie gets pulled out of the bedroom by an unseen force, then Nika discovers a bite mark on her back the next morning, and it motivates him to finally get out of the house. But by then, it's already too late, because Katie seems possessed at this point and abruptly insists on staying. Why, the husband should probably just leave her and get the fuck out himself. If she's possessed, just leave with your fucking life while you can. No, he doesn't. He agrees to stay, instead of just get hell out of Dodge. That's what I would have done. But no, because this guy's so stupid. Even House should have ended, made a video of this, and even did this ending better. How it should have ended, version of this ending would have been way better than what we get after next. Because on night 21, which is the last night we finally have to see, Katie gets out of bed, stares at Mika for 2 hours, and then goes downstairs. And then Katie starts screaming, Mika! 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 And Mika quickly rushes to help her. But then afterwards, we hear Mika scream and a bunch of loud banging noises. And then after a long moment of nothing and silence, Mika's body gets violently hurt at the camera and gets knocked off the tripod. No! I'm not making that shit up. He gets chucked in the air like a fucking football, and his body hits the camera and knocks the tripod on the fucking floor. And then it reveals Katie standing in the doorway with blood on her shirt. She crawls to Mika's body like this and looks at the camera with a grin. And she lunges towards the camera. Her face takes on an enormous snarl like, Rah! Like, Rah! It just sounds like those bloody zombies in Super Smash Bros. Melee. In the adventure mode, that in one of the Link levels, that just grab you and go, oh, in your face. She just sounds like fucking that. Just eats the camera. And the scene cuts to black, and there's no end credits. All we get is this epilogue saying that Mika's body's scared by police and Katie went missing. There's no end credits. And then the movie's just fucking over. And I kid you not, guys, this is when the movie tried to be scary and then it just abruptly ends. But it doesn't matter because this boring-ass movie is finally over and I don't ever have to watch this film again. But maybe there is a good quality. The concept is fresh and creative for found footage, but it's just done by horrible filmmakers, actors, and unlikable characters. And the ending, I guess, was fine. It's the only time it even tries to be scary, but even that just comes off as laughable. Because once this scary stuff happens, the movie just ends. So what was the point of all this? To waste my time for 86 boring-ass minutes? Make me fall asleep quick? Yes. And Spielberg, what movie did you fucking watch? Because apparently he thought this movie was terrifying too, but dude, what the fuck did you watch? You clearly watched a different movie like everybody else did. Because name one thing in the comments on how this movie was so scary if you all want to call me an idiot for not liking this. Then again, some people will think I'm just a guy that just hates most films today, but I've already mentioned there's found footage films I've seen that are actually good and liked, and actually try to be scary, unlike this. And this is not one of them at all. And and I don't get how this got 6 fucking sequels and nearly $200 million at the box office. This film is exactly why horror films most of the time and nowadays suck. Because almost all of them would be made by Jason Bum. And this was the beginning of Jason Bum's career. So yeah, all in all, fuck Paranormal CRAPTIVITY. I am done talking about this stupid bullshit. So in the end, do not watch this movie if you want to be bored for 86 minutes and believing some stupid whiny hype about how scary this movie was. Anyways, that's it for my epic rant on Paranormal CRAPTIVITY. And you're wondering how to rate Paranormal CRAPTIVITY, here's how I'm going to rate this movie. So overall, unless you are looking to be bored for 80 minutes, then go watch something else because there is nothing good about watching some couples sleep for an hour with nothing happening. And if you're wondering how I'm going to rate Paranormal Activity, I'm going to give Paranormal Activity a 3 out of 10. Here we go. I wraps up my epic rant on Paranormal CRAPTIVITY. I hope you all enjoyed it. Now I want to know in the comments below what you guys thought of Paranormal Activity, if you liked it, if you thought it was okay, if you thought I hated it, if you agree or disagree with my opinion. I'm interested to know. But for our next episode, we're going to go back to stop motion for the next 2 episodes. And until then, guys, that'll be it for this episode. Thank you all for watching. If you like this, want to see more, don't forget to like, subscribe to Don G. Corleone.